Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. So today we're talking with Cheryl Sleboda. She is the owner of Muffins.com, with the skull and the sewing. Super cool. And also the genius behind so much cosplay. She comes today to talk to us about her annual 31-day blog challenge, which starts December 1st. And so, this is a special edition of Just Wanna Quilt and all about blogging. All right. Well, this is an interview with Cheryl Sleboda, who's come and who is, as I say, she's my monster mommy. She made me. I think, did you post? Oh, no. Your 31-day blog says, what's the most influential class you've ever taken? And I'll tell you what I'm doing with all of them. And I was like, accidentally, because I was really tired sitting down in your class and then just staying changed my whole life. I was like,
that's very sweet.
It's so funny. Be careful where you
rest. It is kind of funny.
Right.
That's exactly. You never know. You'll start a business and a whole thing and a podcast, and next thing you know.
Right. Well, okay. So today, let's chat about a bunch of stuff today. I want to talk about, you've had this, since we last chatted, you have this whirlwind life, romance, jobs, and you're a captain of industry. So, which is all not, it sounds like a joke, but it's not, it's true. And so also want to chat about sort of your 31-day blog challenge, which starts tomorrow. So we're going to post this today. And I don't know, all kinds of other stuff. And I'll tell you, if we have time, my ridiculousness. Things get weirder every time. Like I have talked to you like 2 days ago and they already got weirder. But good weird. So, yeah. So, okay. So, all right. So those, in case people haven't heard or don't have any idea what we're talking about, let's just do a little bit of background of who you are. So there's lots of ways to describe you. How do you describe yourself right now to people?
So right now I like to say that I'm like four things. I deal with texture and heirloom sewing. I do technology and e-textile kits and education. I am working in the textile industry, so I'm a quilter. I do cosplay, garments, all sorts of things that have to do with textiles. And then I'm also a teacher. So I teach around the country. I go to national quilt shows, and I also teach online and over the airwaves, both, via YouTube and also on television, national television, as it were.
All right. So here's what I think you are. Here's my list of you. Yeah, those are all true. I agree. I approve.
Yeah,
totally all those things. You are
now you're going to embarrass me.
Yeah. So also you are wickedly smart on all kinds of things, whether it's business or social media or products. And you come from the comic book industry, which you talk about a little bit, but not as much as you should, I think. And you are kind of revolutionizing bit by bit how we think about the business of quilting. And I think that is really amazing at this moment and kind of your story. And it's happening fast. It's like that whole like overnight sensation. It only takes, how many years to become an overnight sensation. But, I see your influences on all kinds of businesses out there that you have, you have mentored. You've mentored us, and the Andy's company, right? Sewing Machine Doc, and a bunch of other companies out there that are really thriving. You also teach these classes on social media and business and marketing all over the country. And so influencing people at the beginning of their businesses, in the middle of their businesses, big businesses, small businesses, all kinds of things. But your specialty really is somebody who doesn't really know where to start, and you really do motivate them and help them get started. You're not a coach, but you are like full of information, and that's really different. You're not a coach. Nobody wants to be a coach.
I'm more of a consultant is how I say it. Right. I'm a consultant, not a coach. Yeah.
And like, so that's the first thing I would say about you. Do you want to respond? I have two more.
Okay.
The second one is I think you're like an idea person, and I'm an idea person too, which is you hear something and you see the connections and you're like, okay, here's this idea. And you're just like, it is one of your superpowers. You see things in ways that other people don't. And it's such a fun, delightful thing to be hanging out with you or in your presence, because every time we chat, you're like, well, you could do this, right? And you're like, whoa, yes, we have to do that. And so you are one of those amazing people who do have this kind of idea brain and then execution, that you're able to not only have an idea, but you execute it, or you help others figure out how to execute that idea.
Well, I guess that's a good thing.
It's a great thing, at least on my side of it. I love, how many crazy ideas do you get every day, right? And then you like try to do at least one of them. So,
yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
I'm really good at coming up with ideas for other people's stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that's part of your consulting too, right? Because you hear their stories or you hear what they're doing, and then you're like, if you do X, you could do this, right? You see it. It's like, you have certain sunglasses, that you can see certain things that others can't.
Yeah, I liken it a lot to chess games. Yeah. I try to take things to their furthest conclusions, so,
yeah,
they're like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to play ahead.
Yeah, I don't have the chess thing in me. I really don't. I really just sort of see, like, business. I've been really bad at with business plans because it's too far out for me. I'm good at planning and doing stuff, and I have a lot of follow through, but I'm not really. I don't have the chessboard mentality in my brain. My brain doesn't work that way. All right, number 3.
Not everybody does.
No, not everybody does, and that's okay. So you need someone like you, because then you also I'm like, I want to do X. You're like, well, that's going to lead to, and you're like, oh no, yeah, let's not do that. That would be bad. Okay, that's a dumb idea.
I'm not. There's no such thing as dumb ideas.
Oh my God,
there's just not executable.
Oh, so many dumb ideas. All right, so number 3, you are an industry leader. So you are now involved with Threads of Success, and you have your own company that does stuff and works with people. And I think having watched you and having like interviewed and done, this project now for 2 years, you're really changing the mindset of how we think about quilting as a business. And I think that I see it happening in really interesting ways. You're giving people the tools and the thought process of what it means to be a business. And so you are definitely leading the industry on this in really significant ways.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's you. And you have a really kick-ass cat. You have 2 cats, but like one that's really adorable. So, because you took me in, I was a stray, and you took me in for a little bit of time. It was really weird. It was a really weird time, and you were really, really kind to me. Kind of showed up on your doorstep and didn't leave. But
no,
yeah.
That's what I do, right? Come on in, and you can live in the inventory room.
I did. I lived, so my kid was at School of the Art Institute of Chicago for a summer program, and my dad had just passed away, and I was supposed to go off and do all these things while she was at school, and I just freaked, and I was like, I couldn't be very far from her, even though she was going to be there, and so I called and asked if I could like just come stay at your house and write while she was at her program, and you were like, yeah, come on, and then I just healed. It was like, I don't know if we'll keep this in the interview, but it was like this most amazing thing. That's where the book, which is about to get published, was written, is in your inventory room. It was like the best. We just like write and do work, and then we go for dinner.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
You worked, so, I worked.
Yeah.
And for the record, the inventory room is a guest room that just happens to also be where all of my company inventory
Totally. with a really, really tall single bed that if you aren't careful, you'll fall out of, which only made the writing experience that much better because it was like there was a danger aspect to it. You know, it wasn't like, you know, it was like you must stay on your path and write like this and not move at all because things will fall off the bed and you might too. So it was great.
That's because there's boxes under that bed. That's
boxes under your
why
inventory.
It's so high.
That's right. It's like a princess in the pea bed. It's just going to get bigger and bigger as the inventory grows.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So that's the introduction.
Say, well, and it's weird to be considered an industry leader. You're first of all, you're not the kind of person who can like self-proclaim, right? So I can't say like, I'm now an industry leader. It's not something that like you do. And so it's very kind of you to say that. But I do recognize that, you know, in the short time that I've known you, even I have seen the changes that you're talking about. And it's not, you know, as I like to say, I put my money where my mouth is. And, you know, I see that we need change. And so I'm out there and I want to be the change. That's more important to me than saying like, I'm going to be an industry leader, right?
Yeah. It
doesn't necessarily translate to sales, right? So if you're out there thinking like, oh, I'm going to be an industry leader and then I'll be rolling in it, that's not how that works. No. There are two separate things still.
Yeah. It's very interesting then. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the blog challenge. Why you do it, what it is, and then I'll tell you my ridiculous plan because I have failed. I think I failed the first year. The second year I didn't do it, but this year I am ready. I am doing this. I am so doing this.
This is, I can't tell if this is the fourth or the fifth year. I'm pretty sure this is the fifth year. And what it is it's really similar to two other challenges out there in the world that other people may know of. One of them is the National Novel Writing Month.
Yeah, my kid does that.
NaNoWriMo or whatever they call it.
Yeah, my kid's doing that at school. It's amazing. My kid's doing that. Yeah. Yeah, so write.
The idea is that, yes, every day in the month, and you try to, like, bang out a novel in a month.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that you just go on writing the novel, you know, and getting it in its raw form, and then you're ready. You have this manuscript that you can continue to tweak and then submit, or whatever it is that, you know, if writing a novel was, like, on your bucket list, this is that, like, you know, writing challenge. Right. So that was the first one. And then there's all these challenge months, like, you know, things like, No Shave November and things like that.
Right. There's like is it Inktober?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Inktober is one where you draw every day for the month. And so, you know, the idea for me was I used to be really, really, really good at keeping my blog. And then social media comes along. Yeah. And we favor posting on Instagram or writing a Facebook post versus going to our own blogs and writing on our own blogs. And truly, blogging used to be the only social media that we did. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. You were writing on your blog as your window to the world, as it were, and people would come and you'd have readers that followed your blog religiously, and people still do write and read blogs very religiously. But for me and for many people like me, social media took over, and my blog was more neglected than I had liked.
Yeah.
And as I teach my classes, and as you sat in on the class, the social media class, the only real estate that you own 100% is your own website. And so tomorrow, if Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, they all go down the drain and, you know, they get shut down forever, we've worked so hard to create all these fans and followers and all this stuff, and poof, they're all gone.
It's all gone.
And what we didn't do is push anybody back to where we live on the internet.
Yeah.
And so, instead of me putting up a tutorial on Facebook, I'd rather put that tutorial on my blog and get all that traffic to where I live, where I can control the message. So what I found is that giving myself a challenge to write was key. And so that's where the challenge was born. And then I said, well, there's only one time of year where we're all, quote unquote, so busy that it seems like the worst possible time to launch a challenge.
Yeah.
But what it teaches you is it teaches you a lot of time management skills. It teaches you a lot of project management skills. It teaches you that in order for you to blog every day during the month of December, when you have so many constraints on your time, it's the perfect time. It's the only time. So I launched it in December, and everyone's like, what? That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Doing this in December is the worst. And I'm like, I get it. I did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Because if you can blog in December every day, you can do it any time of year.
All right. So I've got a million questions. First of all, for those like me, so I used to blog. First I blogged. That's how I got my job, actually, was blogging. I got a Stanford fellowship from, I was at the Center for Internet Society because of my blog. And then I got a fellowship at London School of Economics, and that led to a job. And then I came to Tulane, and they asked me to blog. So I was like a blogging person. And then I got to Tulane, I'm like, I'm not blogging anymore. So let's say you're like me, I've killed the blog, or you don't have a blog. It always feels really weird to me to be writing on a blog when nobody's reading it. We don't have an audience. And I know we do have people that have signed up for our newsletter, which we never send out. That's a whole nother issue. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm writing I'm fake writing in some way. Like I'm writing crap that nobody's reading. Does that make sense?
No, again, I can see where you would say that. And I know that there are people out there who are like, I'm going to write and no one's going to read it. And that's not true. Because now with social media, we have all these ways to direct people to the content that we are writing.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, even some of my blog posts from 2006, which is when I started my blog, 2006, that's 13 years ago.
Right?
Some of those tutorials get picked up and shared to this day. So the idea that, you're writing and, it's never going to be seen is probably not true. I mean, it's one of those things that it's part of the record. It's part of your business and your statement, and you put it out there. And down the road, someone's going to be doing some kind of research and going back and looking at those.
Right.
Just like they look at old tweets for people.
That's very true. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So that's my first worry. My second worry is that if I blog all the time, people get really sick of me.
Well,
please go away. Go away. That would be my second worry.
I think what it is, it's about learning to make compelling content. And, obviously just like a social media account where, let's call it Instagram, right? So we do the same thing with Instagram accounts. We get so interested in one piece of the content, and then we follow them. And then it's like, oh, wait, the rest of this account is just pictures of their food and their cat.
Right.
And that's not the things I came for.
Right.
So if you're a popular Instagrammer, you end up learning really quickly that the pieces of content that get the most engagement is what you should give your customer.
Right.
And or your follower or whatever. And what we find too in blogging is that, if you're just going on about your day or you're ranting about some complaining thing, obviously those aren't going to be the ones that are going to be most popular.
Oh, you think they'll be most popular? I thought they'd be like, oh, I'm never reading this person again.
Well, it's just, and that's what ends up making people tune out. It's like, I liked her one post about XYZ, but now all she does is use it to complain. You know, like that's a common thing that happens even back in the day.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, so here's my next worry. I have a lot of blog worries. Okay, so I don't know what the focus of a blog should be, and I don't know if it's A, personal, B, informational. Oops, sorry, I just hit the microphone. B, informational. Can it be a bunch of different stuff? Like, I just don't know what the blog is supposed to be about. So I kill it. I write them, but then I kill them every single time, you know?
Well, okay, so everything out there, and this is true of every TV show, everything we consume as media is one of two things. It's either educational or it's entertaining, or it's entertainment, right? So it's either educational or entertainment, and a lot of the times our content is both.
Yeah.
So we feel like when you're sitting down to write your blog, you have to think like, is this going to be an educational post or is it going to be an entertainment post? And entertainment posts are going to be like just things that go on about your day, or here's a funny picture I found, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The educational posts are teaching somebody about something. Maybe it's a tutorial, maybe it's a tip, maybe it's a, even like there's people who do lists of links that they found interesting this week. That's a really great like kind of post, because you're exposing people to all sorts of cool things that you find cool. Now, if I think you're cool and you think these things are cool, you know, it's sort of just, you know, more education and also entertainment.
Yeah.
So what I find is that most content falls into one of those two categories. I think where we get stuck as people is that we feel like we're not interesting enough to know anything about.
Totally.
And that's so not true. I mean, like, what makes us as quilters, what makes us as designers, what makes us as podcasters, that's all so interesting to people. And what they want is a personal connection.
Yeah.
And if you're not I think of that movie, You've Got Mail, and she's like, you know, they always say that, you know, it's business, it's not personal, but business is personal.
Yeah.
It's very personal to you. It's very personal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's personal to our customers as well.
Yeah.
And so they want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You just aren't, maybe it's a self-esteem thing. Maybe it's a, just a lack of use to, like, you're not used to doing all of this. So it feels like you know, this is uninteresting to people. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true at all.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
And you don't know until you try.
Yeah. Okay. So, I can't figure it out. I mean, because I feel like I'm very different not different personalities, a little bit. Like, I've got my goofiness, I've got my super hardcore copyright stuff, and then I've got my weird time project that nobody knows about. And so, I don't know. I just feel like a blog should be focused and have like a purpose, and I think that's really hard. Now, the other part of it is, what about a blog where, because one of the things, I'll tell you what we're going to do with the blog challenge thing, but I was thinking of maybe having, if people like, should it blog just be one person writing, or can you have more than one person on the same blog? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, you can have guest writers all the time. And I think like the type of things that blogs do, like blog hops and guest bloggers and things like that, are ways for your blog to expose itself to not just your readers, to people that you find interesting and have a different voice on your blog, but also like a blog hop and things like that, where you click around to other people on certain days as part of the hop. That's, a way of sharing all of the readers from one to be invited to come and see what's going on this other part of the blog hop. I do that every spring with the spring clean your studio blog hop. Because people love to see studios. They love to see how they're set up. They love to see tips and tricks on organization and things like that. So that one is really popular because, you know, everybody wants to see what other people's studios look like. And so those kinds of things, you know, it's a great way to share readership and things like that. I also think too that, you know, when it comes to guest bloggers, again, that's just putting a different voice on your blog where, you know, again, people have the ability to get a different perspective. Like if your blog is always going to be you and your website's always going to be you. But then here's like a nice way to say, here's someone who has a different perspective and it's someone that I may admire or have a lot of respect for. And here's their take on this subject. Maybe it's a tutorial, maybe it's using, you know, fabric that you designed, you know, all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I love it, you know, personally.
It's really cool.
It's great.
Okay, so here's what we're doing. As I said, the first year I did it, I did the first 3 posts, and the third post was why I hate blogging, and then I stopped. It's really not good. The next year, I was like, okay, I can't deal with this. It was really bad. And then I killed the blog, because that's what I do. I kill blogs. Before I get to our strategy of how we're going to succeed, and I do know you've promised everybody cake, right? I'm just kidding. I posted that today.
Yeah.
You're like...
Yeah.
You're like going bankrupt because you have to like send out all these cakes. I'm just kidding. That's not happening.
I'm not, yes.
You're not sending cake to people. I'm definitely.
There's a video game that says the cake is a lie and there is no cake.
The cake is a lie.
Yes.
Totally.
The cake is a lie.
The cake is a lie. What's your favorite blogging platform? Because that's the other thing is I jump around from blogging platform to blogging platform, and we use Wix for our website because I hate WordPress, and but I'm not super keen on that one either. So what is your strategy of if someone's out there and they want to start a blog and they're going to start it tonight to get ready for tomorrow?
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, WordPress. WordPress.
Everybody loves WordPress.
That's the main one right now. And it used to be Blogger, which was a Google product.
Yeah.
And Blogger, you know, it has, I think what a lot of people are afraid of is that Google has been known to like kill platforms with like very little notice. And some of these folks who are on Blogger jumped ship years ago. I was one of them because they killed a popular blog reading app.
Yeah.
And if they could kill the app to read blogs, it was only a matter of time before they killed the blog platform itself.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people still use Blogger, and you can sign up and use Blogger. But really, WordPress is like the king of blogs right now. So you can sign up for a blog, an account on WordPress, and you don't have to have a domain or anything, and it can be hosted on WordPress itself. So that's probably the easiest way to get a blog.
That's WordPress.com, not WordPress.org, right?
Correct. Yeah. So WordPress.org is the software if you want to run it on your own domain. And WordPress.com is where you go to get the blog itself, like and have it self-hosted by WordPress. So and that's how a lot of people start. They start on, WordPress.com and then decide, hey, this is growing bigger. I've got big readership. Right. Maybe you want to monetize things, whatever, and then you can always grow with the software.
Right. I'm at their website right now, and you can get one for free. That's just a personal one for free. Yep. I mean, I'm sorry, the free one, and then there's personal, which is like $4 a month, and then it goes up to $8, $25, $45. So you can kind of get in without spending any money, which is always super great.
Correct.
Hold on just a second. Just 1 second.
Uh-huh.
Can we do the swing set first, and then I'll be done? Yeah? Okay, cool. Awesome. Hi. Okay. We're getting ready for Ron's mom coming.
Yay!
It's always a big adventure. Okay. So I'll try WordPress. I'll sign up and see what it's like. So when you do... So the other question I have logistically is, So I write on Wix or WordPress or wherever you're going to do a typepad. There's a whole bunch of out there, tons and tons of them out there. Do some of them automatically put it onto your blog, onto your Instagram or to Facebook, or are you manually letting people know that there's a new post?
So many of them have an integration for Facebook pages. So if you have a business page, it can post it there. And then a lot of them just have automatic integrations for Instagram. So it doesn't have to be a business account, but it can integrate to your Instagram and say, a new post has come up. Twitter, it can go to Twitter, it can go to all those different platforms and basically announce to the world that you have made a new post. So you don't have to redo it.
So you don't have to redo it.
No, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem with Wix right now is that it doesn't do that. And so I just find like I'm annoyed, I'm like, I don't want to deal with having to go post it someplace because
it's like an extra step. And WordPress does do it. I don't know about on their basic plans, but I do know that on my WordPress hosted site, my entire website is run by WordPress. Yeah. And so that it is an automatic function of that. You can just set up your account and just as you post, things go up online.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, integration's important. I don't know if we're going to have it when we have to do it ourselves, but that's really nice. Okay. Okay. So here's our plan.
Okay.
I have already gotten all the questions and put it on the day, and I'm putting them as a post on our Just Wanna Quilt group.
Okay.
And so I'm going to gather what they have as their answer, and they also can post their link to their blog if they're doing your podcast, your challenge. And then I'm going to take all of those answers and I'm going to put it into a blog post so that I can sort of like, what's your least favorite color? I know mine. It's yellow. It's always been yellow. It always will be yellow. But I don't really have much else to say about it. But I'm really curious how many other people feel that way, So I think it'll keep me honest. They're already, I've cataloged them. They're all ready to go, and they'll automatically post in the morning. And we'll see what kind of results we get. And then I put in, each of them has your little 31-day blog challenge link in it. So if people along the way want to do it, they can do it and find you. That was my thought about it. It's Just Wanna Quilt doing it. I'll keep more honest. I won't feel so shy because, I do feel a bit shy about telling people that, I hate yellow. So, I don't know. I just feel like I need the group. I think I'm like, I think they're cool. And I feel less shy.
Well, you're crowdsourcing.
I'm crowdsourcing. I am.
You're crowdsourcing your blog, which is awesome. And I think that's great. I mean, you're allowing the army to have a say on the blog, which is awesome. And that gives voice to people who don't have a blog, which is great. And also, again, it's like a great little shout out if you're, like almost like when people, they submit to being quoted in an article and your quote is the one that's selected. It's always like, ooh, So I think that's awesome. Yeah, there's no wrong way to do the challenge. There's some people have done it as photos on their blog, which, is another way to do it. This year I did start the prompts, which I think, in the previous years, I just basically said, go to town and blog about whatever you want. And what people find is like they'll do the first week, maybe week and a half, and then they're like, I'm out of ideas. And I'm like, how can you possibly be out of ideas?
No, the prompts are great. And the prompts were like things that I never would have thought about. And I had really a lot of fun when I was writing, because I wrote them all out yesterday. And I was like, oh, that's great. I can't wait to do that one. Right. So it was really fun to sort of see it just pushes you in different directions. And I thought that was really fun. So we'll see how it goes.
Well,
but yes, I'm crowdsourcing my blogging.
That's fine. I put those prompts together in a phone call with my friend Ebony Love, who has been on the podcast.
Yes.
Many times.
Her this week.
And she is, she and I sat down and we brainstormed these 31 prompts. Now, the prompt idea is really popular on Instagram challenges where you're doing a photo a day for a particular month. And I know in the cosplay world, we did one in October, which was really a lot of fun. And the prompts were really interesting, and how people interpret the prompts are really interesting. So, things like dream project and oldest UFO and, it doesn't, my first project is got to be the god-awfulest, ugliest quilt you ever did see in your entire life. And I think people are fascinated by, the first quilt that, famous people make, right?
Totally.
So, because I love to show people that I started just in the exact same spot that they did, right?
Yeah.
I did not come, pop out of the womb fully formed with the, great quilting prowess. None of that is true. I had to start somewhere, and my first quilt is still used in this house every day, and it is so butt ugly that even the cats don't like the front of it.
That's so interesting.
But I think that that's the kind of thing that, everyone has that kind of stuff. And earliest sewing memory. Why do you sew? Show us your fabric. Those are pictures. You don't have to do some of those. You don't have to get very loquacious about, your earliest sewing memory or your showing us your fabric,
Right.
Then I want to see that fabric collection that everybody has.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting.
But Ebony, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh, I was going to say, Ebony and I sat down and did these, and then she runs an online class, which is really awesome, called Blog Revival, and it's how to get your blog off of life support and start blogging regularly, because she and I both believe that, again, this blog is your voice to your world, and yes, social media is that for a lot of people, but again, you don't own Facebook, you don't own Twitter, you don't own Instagram, and they could shutter tomorrow, and then you're only left with this blog that you've neglected. So I just feel like it's so her class combined with my challenge is a great way to get your blog out and just get back into the habit of blogging regularly. And she teaches you all sorts of other stuff that I don't cover in my blog challenge, like SEO, and all these other ways to tailor your blog with tags and things like that. I don't cover any of that. I'm just here to host the challenge and do that year after year, and she can teach you all of those awesome things about how to make your blog optimized to reach the audience and things like that. So two different things. But we had a good time coming up with the list of prompts, which, again, I feel like is a really good way for people to participate if they feel like they've run out of ideas.
No, I think it's going to be fun. And the other thing I did, which I think I'm going to do, is I did them all yesterday. And so I think that also helps a lot. So I think thinking, and you had talked about this in your class, of for me, I'm really good at chunks of time. So if I am going to do this today, I'm very good at I will not go to bed until this is done. And so I think that part of the blogging, I write so much, all my life is writing. So the last thing I want to do at the end of the day is write a blog, right? I'm just please, I need to sew. So I think having just a day, Friday is the day you write all the stuff, or or even the podcast we now do today and tomorrow, or we're going to do the next 6 weeks of podcasts. We'll get them up. I think that helps. So it doesn't feel like the burden is there every single day, that you can, and with the prompts you gave, you can do those ahead of time, right? You could do all of them ahead of time. And so that's kind of your strategy in some way too, is that you don't have to be blogging every day. It just has to be posting every day, right?
Right. And I think, what it is we forget that, it's regular content that people come back for. And Bonnie Hunter, who has probably, I would argue, has the most popular quilting blog right now.
Yes.
She's got a readership that's out of this world.
Right.
It's enviable. And she blogs every day, and she blogs, long form as well, not these short little, 2-word things. Like they're like really long and
it's so
lots
interesting.
Of pictures.
And the other thing about it is that it's not very organized, not in a bad way. I'm gonna do the mystery quilt for the first time this year, and so I've been looking at her stuff, and it's like, it's not pretty, right? Like her blog isn't like overly gorgeous, and it's all over the map, but nobody cares. So I mean, I thought that was really nice to see that, like, the aesthetic shouldn't freak you out. Like, just do it. Because her stuff isn't
do it. It's
pretty,
about doing it. Yeah, it is. It's about consistency, and that is better than, obsessing over every other detail. Like what she's proving is that, it's consistency that wins. And because she's doing it every day, she's got dedicated readers. They may not log in every day, but they're logging in very frequently to make sure that they keep up with what's going on. And she cross-posts her blogs to social media, so her impressive social media following is also doing that exact same thing. They're coming back to her blog where she lives on the internet. They're going off of Facebook, and they're spending that time on her platform where she can tell you, hey, I've got a new mystery quilt you can do. Hey, I've got a new this or that or the other, or this advertiser is helping us out. I mean, and truly, if this is how you're making your living, and for me, that's how I make my living, having you exposed to the products that I make is how I make money. And so by creating all this content, I'm bringing you back to my house almost. Right. And you can sit in my inventory room, and and this is my way of saying, like, welcome to my inventory room, and oh, look, here's all the products right across from you. Aren't they great? And so hopefully that's what helps translate into, for a lot of us, that's how it translates into sales. Like when we have a new product to announce, it's going to be on our blogs. It's also on social media, but like, no one wants to read a novel on social media. You're not going to read a novel in part on social media. Right. You're going to read chapters, though, of a person's life in a blog. Right. And so that's the real difference. So.
Okay. So one more thing about the blog. So this is my latest idea. Well, we'll have the crowdsourcing. I'm going to start talking about each book that we're writing and sort of tips on trademark and copyright, because I think that's really good. And then just kind of musings, because I'm on sabbatical for 9 months. And so I figure I can kind of have my kind of what I'm up to kind of thing. That's my 3 things I think I'm going to do.
I think that's great.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, having even just that little bit of direction helps, put the whole thing in perspective. I love it.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll try again. But I think, it could work. We'll see. Okay. Yeah. So that is and it starts tomorrow. It starts tomorrow.
It does.
That's
December 1st.
December 1st. We're going to post this today. And maybe you'll come back halfway or towards the end, and we can talk about how we did and how people are doing on this. It's super great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See, I will admit, I'm the first to admit that there are years where I didn't even make it all the way through. I mean, I would skip like a day or two. Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh, I'm like, we're all human beings, and life gets in the way. And don't feel like, oh, my gosh, I went to sleep and I didn't put my blog post up.
Yes.
It's like stressful. The blog police are not coming for you,
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. It's okay. Just pick up and carry on. That's all you can do.
Awesome. All right. So we're gonna let's stop the recording here because I'd like to post this, and if I start talking about all the other ridiculous things, then it won't get posted. So Cheryl, this is so awesome. We are so doing this. The Quilting Army, we are crowdsourcing, we are doing the blog. It's going to be awesome. Now the big challenge for me, I think I may have a student help me though, is getting the information from the Facebook group to the blog, because my mom used to say, you haven't done laundry unless you've folded and put it away. So if we have all the info on our Facebook group, but we haven't put it into a blog, that doesn't count. So we're going to try to get this done. So we're going to work on it. So all right, like fabulous. Plan. Thank you so much for coming today.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.